This week on the Push for Loads podcast, Chris Hemsworth, Monty Panesar, and the Dimmer Switch Theory. Sounds like a Harry Potter book. And 3, 2, 1. You're here with fitness influencer Tom Hall.
Hey guys, welcome to the Push for Legs podcast with myself, Damik.
Did the thing come up? Is that good?
Yeah,
and me, Tom
fitness
Hall.
influencer, bicep curl.
Health influencer or whatever.
Right.
Well, just yeah. I sent it to Dan today. It just popped up in my explore feed. I was like, "What's this?" I was like, "Monty Panesar." If anybody knows who Monty Panesar is, I implore you to go look at his Instagram page right now. 300,000 followers, doing all right, isn't he? I'd imagine all of them are.
The cricket fans. Yeah.
Cricket fans. But he's going after the fitness. He's in our realm now, mate. He's going after the fitness industry. So
he is.
I'd be worried based off the quality of the content. Didn't really know what he was saying because he was definitely talking Hindi for most of it, wasn't he?
Yeah. I wonder if, again, in his community, whether he is in shape, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, a few of the comments are a bit like, not being funny, Monty, but why are you giving out this advice? Like, yeah, quite funny. But I do wonder if, for his sort of demographic, he is actually in shape. Who knows? Who knows if...
But yeah, if you want any tips on some bicep girls or... were you serious when you wrote back to me? You were like, do you think he's just forgot to take off the fitness influence a bit of the video? But
it looked like it looked to me like it was a pre-made template that you just forgot to take out the name of the fitness influencer and then like the name of the exercise.
And then on the other ones it was like health influencer, nutrition influencer, and then it was just like,
I didn't see the other ones.
Yeah, and all the other ones, like if you scrolled through it, just him sitting there eating a banana, like explaining in Hindi why a banana's good, or and then doing
this helped me bowl a cricket ball really, really hard.
A CrossFit workout that you can do at home, and it was like really rapid step ups, and then like one of those little run up and down the Reebok step, that kind of thing. Not actually good. And then some star jumps, jumping jacks, and then something else. Yeah. It was like, do 1 minute of these and then rest, and then 1 minute of these and then rest. And I was just like, I hope you didn't do this when you were playing cricket at the ECB. Like, I'm pretty sure you didn't, because I know the S&C coach for Essex, and he also does Surrey. The Surrey whomever's for the Blitz and stuff like that, and the 100. And I'm like, he's pretty clued up. He does a good S&C work. I'd imagine the S&C at England is just as good as that. So, but I don't know.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? You just don't know, Tom. You would always assume it would be good, but I think you only have to look at fucking football clubs, that kind of thing. You have to look at that to realise maybe.
Yeah, it's gotten in my grill this week as well, because I screenshotted that obviously and sent it to you. And there was another thing I screenshotted. Was an advert, and obviously this guy's been the rounds before, is Chris Hemsworth. Yes. Obviously good actor, whatever, funny as what he does, like Thor and stuff. And obviously he did stuff with Ross Edgley, and we know geared out of his brain. Like, let's not be anything fun about that. He's clearly on gear. And then advertising, obviously, for he has his workout app. And then the sponsored ad that I got hit by was do Chris Hemsworth 15-minute banded workout guaranteed to pack on the muscle.
Not it.
Just like, really, Chris? 15 minutes and banded. And I was like, fuck me. No. Just no. It's just annoying, isn't it? It's just really, I don't know why it grilled me. Obviously, I didn't leave a comment or anything like that. I didn't grill me that enough. I was just like, really? Oh dear.
Yeah, I feel like it's just selling out, isn't it? It's just saying stuff for the sake of saying it.
But he doesn't need to. He obviously gets paid millions from his fucking acting gigs.
Yeah, but it's not him, is it? It's not him.
It's his marketing.
He's a part owner. He's a part owner of the app. He's the face of it, right?
Yeah,
that's the reality of it.
And, it's just 15 minutes a day. better than something like that? It was like, yeah, you burn more calories doing 15 minutes a day than an hour of running. I was like, probably don't. Hour of running burns a lot of calories.
Yeah, running is probably one of the most highest calorie burning things you can do.
Correct. Yeah. So very odd.
Isn't it painful seeing it? Yeah. No, I think it's important as well for coaches though, because they don't actually immerse themselves enough in that sort of stuff. They see it and they just go, "Oh, load of shit," but they don't understand or look at it and go, well, "Why? Yeah, but why are people buying it? Why are people interested in that? Why is that speaking to someone at their level? You know, there's all different levels to this."
Yeah.
You know, people are still asking those questions. They are still wanting to pack on muscle with a band. It's like, really?
Well, we talk about it, don't we? Like, there's a good way of like going on those adverts or those posts and stuff, and then going into the comment section and being that small fish of like nipping people. Like,
well, you're the one that can reply to them. The big accounts aren't going to reply.
The big accounts aren't going to reply, and then you go and like answer the questions that are within that. Yeah, you might get some shit off people, but then you might get some people who you're offering genuine advice who might come and follow you. If you've got your page set up correctly, you talked about that previously, which is something, which I've noticed as well, because obviously there's like tactics and stuff that you do, like in terms of follows and people who follow you back and stuff like that, about ideal clients and all that kind of stuff. And I've noticed within my outreach more recently, because I've probably got my page more set up for exactly what I'm preaching and who I go after, my follow back ratio is pretty fucking high right now, in terms of going through that. And I'm like, good. That is good. It's definitely noticeable distance from like about 3, 4, 5, 6 months ago. So which is cool. But it definitely does resonate for, it's just like, what are you preaching for? What are you there for? Why is somebody looking at your account for what? Also, like,
and also as well, it's that first interaction with them is a positive one, like you said, where if you're leaving a comment about a question they have and you're answering it, well, they're gonna check out your page. Oh, I see, this guy knows what he's talking about. Rather than just following them randomly, it's not going to be as effective as leaving a comment and involving yourself in someone's community, involving yourself within that sort of stuff. Beyond just great post, dude.
I got a really weird one, like, I think, but it was so generically like long. What was it today?
I remember you posted. Didn't you post it on your story? I've seen it. I think I felt like you.
No, I didn't. Well, actually, I had one lad. The first time ever, someone I screenshotted it, and I was going to send it to you or talk about it or put it on our story. I had one videographer. The first time a cold outreach videographer has ever, number one, opened correctly, and then number two, had stuff on his page, and number three, sent me stuff of his work. Like, or like, this is what I do for fitness people like yourself, Tom. Where was it? It was like, and I wrote back to him. I was like, dude, well done. I was like, I've already got one, thank you. But he was like, good day. I'm not sure if you're going to see this, but your content is amazing, blah, blah, blah. Caught my attention. I was like, thank you. If you'll give me a chance, I can edit your videos and reels and become your video editor. Here's one of my works. I would love to work with you. And then I actually clicked on his profile, because normally you click on the profile, and we've talked about it before, and they have like no work. Like, he's like, this is for this person, this is for this person, this is for this person. And I was like, finally, a video. And shockingly, if a video editor shows the work that they do for their clients that they posted, you're more likely. And I was like, oh, I'll save you actually, because if you keep adding to that and you get a bigger portfolio of like, say, 500 posts on there from other coaches and other people, I might come back to you. But
it's baffling as well to me that coaches can't see it in themselves. Do you know what I mean? They're happy to slag people off and go, oh, they just do outreach, just this. It's like, yeah, but when I go to your page, you ain't got any results. You don't talk about this sort of shit, and you're doing the same thing. You know, it's I think coaches are missing a trick. I've got a story to post tomorrow, because I don't post all my gold in one day. Do you know, I like to sort of siphon it off a little bit. Yeah. So I'll give a bit of a sneak peek to those on the podcast, because I don't mind, because you're here. Then there's the where have I got it? Oh, it's in my drafts, isn't it? I put coaches. This is one of the things, I do coaches and also coaches. Coaches, I can't understand why my audience aren't engaging with my content. Also, coaches hires a VA to manage their DMs because they don't like speaking to people. Hires someone to create carousel posts for them. Post trending motivational audio over a montage of them in an ice bath. Yeah, the reason they're not engaging with you is because you're not engaging with them. Like, do you know what I mean? It's that whole thing of like, come on, like it's not rocket science here. It's like you're not putting out, you're not engaging, you're not going to find people, you're not going to comment on stuff, you're not actively using Instagram as it's supposed to be used. Why would anyone use Instagram on your page for how it's intended to be used and comment on your stuff? Yeah. You know, it's that whole thing. They just don't see and understand the social aspect of it. They just want to hide away. And you know, we used to do it in person. We used to get, you know, PTs and moan about their client numbers, but then hide away in the office and never talk to a single fucking person in the gym. And it's like, well,
yeah.
Well, you know, then they go into the office. I'm just looking for clients on Instagram. They're all out there, mate. Like they're literally walking
yeah,
around.
you're in a gym.
They don't know. They don't know how to use machines. They're struggling.
1,000 members.
You know, not seeing results. Oh, baffling. Absolutely baffling. But you know, people do the same on Instagram. They moan about this stuff. It's just, yeah.
I had this one from I don't know what he does actually. I clicked on his thing, but commented, "Thanks for the tip. Looking back when I first started training and had absolutely no clue what I was doing." Laughing face. "I can't help but imagine you or someone else watching me like, what the fuck is this kid up to? But thanks to awesome people like you, I can proudly say I've made some solid progress. I'm definitely giving this a shot in my next workout. Thanks for sharing. Let's keep pushing each other and crush those goals together." I was like, it's so generic that I read it and I was like, it's so in depth and so lovely, but it's so generic it could be on any video. And I was like, and I clicked on the reel that it was on, and yeah, it was a VBT test. And I was like, you normally just go off and do one of these in your workout. You've probably got a purpose to do a VBT like 75 to 100% body weight. It's not a generic. I'm just have a go. All right, good. Yeah. Considering you didn't mention VBT or anything like that. Yeah. So quite funny. Also, yeah, it's when it's like a post that's like from a little bit a while ago as well. I'm like, that was like over a week ago. Like, all right, it's fine. Don't just be like Anyway, it's there's a dip into our Instagrams in there, Dan. It's always fun. I've got a few at the moment. I've got about 5 or 6 kind of non-replies. "Hey Tom, just sticking my head out again. Hey, just making sure you didn't forget about me," crying face.
I did forget about you. Go on.
So yeah, notice how you haven't moved from my requests into my primary or my general. So you definitely not to be in my primary. Do people do that? Do you tell people to do that just for an inkling? I'm hoping people do this. In terms of primary are like my clients and my friends, and then general is like possibly people I'm talking to and I'll interact with, but so it doesn't like clog up. Do you do that or not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. People don't realize. I'm just like, it's just an easy way of sorting people. Like, yeah. So and it does so because you obviously don't get notified, right, by the general stuff. It's just like it's there and you'll get back to it as when hopefully you have your scheduling all good. But anyway, we digressed into. We went very hard, very early there, Dan. That was like 2 minutes in, and we kind of were given value. Something's wrong.
Sorry.
Wow. No, you've never.
There we go. Bring the tone down again straight away.
You've never given that much value 2 minutes in. Dan's still kissing neck. Then he's absolute foreplay machine. Is this lad? That's what he's known as. Yeah. or it's already finished. He would have done by now. So
one of those two things, yeah.
So I've got I guess this week, I've got some interesting news. I'm moving facilities, which is fun. I think I've mentioned it before in this podcast, and a couple of people took me up on it. I think I did one 3-4 weeks ago over East of like one-off sessions. And I would say it just on the podcast. If you're in London and I'm going to be training in a new facility, I'm literally doing one-off. I realized, right, this is like under half price for me. I'm just going to be doing a 50 quid session for one-off. If you ever want to come and do a session with me in Marlow.
You charge me more than that to spend time with you on holiday.
I know, it's insane. That's how bad you are at golf.
I might sign up for some.
And I realized it's like in the grand scheme of things, people will be like, "Fucking hell, for 50 quid." Like, bearing in mind, I charge a lot more than that. between the 100 and 120 pound an hour mark. But obviously that's because of the area that I operate in. But I would like to get some people who just want to come in and take some tips and have a little look at stuff. And it's what I charge like for between like 50 and 60 quid for like a top-up session on like if my online clients want to come and have a session with me. So I'm opening that out just until the end of the year, basically to get embedded into this new place just because I want to do some sessions there basically. And December is traditionally a little bit more quiet. So if anybody is around in London and you have my Instagram, then let me know. I'm quite happy to do that. Obviously I've got my own work, but yeah, I'm assuming there's not going to be like flocks of people, but if there's 2 or 3 that are in London and want a session, then let's have a coffee. Absolutely fine. But yeah, it's exciting. So I went to forced social interaction drinks yesterday, which is always fantastic, isn't it? Those nights.
You love that. Yeah.
I'm being like, you can probably like hear my voice. I had to record a YouTube video yesterday as well. But I'd off put it for like a week because as soon as I got back from Dubai, like the day after the podcast we recorded, I fell sick. I was like, brilliant, wonderful, dying, all good. My nasally voice. So I went and had a couple of drinks and probably felt even worse yesterday. Today's the first day of actually working. Just you feel so lethargic, right? You're just like, oh. Yeah. On Thursday when I first got hit down by it, I knew I had to do check-ins. I didn't start my check-ins till 3 p.m. I was just like,
wow. Yeah.
They lasted. My check-ins, normally I can get my check-ins done in a day and a half, and they lasted till Saturday, Sunday. So I just scraggled through. I was just like, oh god. I was like, apologies. I was like, I know. I just sent out comms. I was like, I know I'm going to miss something. I know I am. I'm just not there. So I think people realize I'm human. So that's right. Generally, people, if you do an okay job, people are usually okay with you. It's fine. But that'll be exciting. I'll send you some pictures. But what is the more exciting thing, Dan, is is it exciting? I don't know. Maybe you can be a guest on the podcast at some point. I realize he's probably looking for guests, but Stephen Bartlett is I've met him twice now. 3 times. Met him, opened the door for him. Thanks. Didn't say thanks. Sorry. I know. Fucking he's tiny as well. I could smash him.
He's small, is he?
He's not massive, no. That's about your height. So yeah.
Oh, he's massive then. What are you about?
Yeah. So he was at the drinks yesterday and he went and trained himself. So I'm obviously more infatuated that Jon Snow, Kit Harington trains at the other one. That's a lot cooler. He's tiny. He's like 5'5". It's like madness. You're always like, what? But no, it's crazy.
Game of Thrones.
He's Game of Thrones, yeah. He trains at the other one. But it'll be interesting to see who ends up training at this one. I might actually do some outreach and try and get some higher celebrity status clients. I think that'd be more fun, maybe, instead of my boring ones that I have currently.
The boring ones.
The boring ones that are like CEOs of companies and directors and stuff like that. It's like,
actually,
important people, but not in the public eye. The people who end up having to go to round tables for government stuff, and you're like, that's not fun, is it? It's like, yeah, Tom, I'm quoted in here. I'm like, nah, but are you on OK Magazine? No.
All right. So if you done a film, no. So,
no. Yeah. Where's your documentary? Okay. But yeah, it should be fun. So on that, Stephen Bartlett. Everybody knows him from Diary of the CEO and the slightly questionable guests that he's getting on recently. But I will be going to, I think he launched it on his social media or stuff like that. I've got an invite because I'm so special. Because I was one of the select few that opened the club. I know. Look at me. I know. It's almost like I do my job well. And then does help that I've been in Marylebone for 9 years building my business. And I was like, I know everything around here. And there's a fireside chat. I didn't know what that meant. With Stephen Bartlett on Friday. What does fireside chat mean? Fireside chat.
I think it means there's a fire.
I thought he was like, that'd be great if Stephen Bartlett's showing me around health and safety. These are the fire. Yeah. So that's his job.
Here's what you do to build a fire. Here's how you put a fire out.
A fireside chat is an informal conversation between a moderator and, it says, her guest. I'm assuming it could be his guest. Interestingly, the term was used to describe a series of 30 evening radio addresses given by President Franklin Roosevelt. Lovely. All right, so he's doing like a Q&A on how to build a successful health-based business or something like that. But before we go, we had to submit a question. I don't know if I told you the question I submitted to him previously. And so I asked, because everybody's going to be going with like, so what do you think I should be doing? What's the future of health, fitness or health? What I should be invested in? He's going to be like, invest in Zoe Project, invest in Whoop, because those are all the companies he's invested in. You should be buying these products. And we're really thinking HRV is a really big thing right now, or intolerance setting or stuff like that. So I asked the question, what is your favorite dinosaur?
Why wouldn't you?
That is the question I've submitted. And so
just imagine of all the things you had the opportunity to ask Steve Bartlett that question, right? Of all the questions you could have asked him.
But the reason why I did it, because I was like, they were selecting a few members, and I was like, I'm going to submit that question, and they were going to get them based off the submissions of the questions or what questions they're going to ask. And then I just knew that, like, obviously, no offense to the people that work at these facilities and stuff, they're very serious. You know the types that don't they take themselves a little bit too seriously. And I was like, that's just not me, unfortunately. Like, there's time for serious chat, but I'm like, it's Friday night, fuck me. Am I here to like learn? Probably not. I'm just here to see what he's got to say. I'm not probably going to take anything away. I don't think. I'm not going to be in that mindset.
No,
I don't know.
Actually, no.
It's the same old thing, right? I'm just like, is it going to be empowering? Is it that I don't think I'm that personality to get empowered by like, awesome.
You're not going to walk away and be like, I'm going to change my life now.
I don't think I am like as awful as that. I'm more motivated by people like you, like my close friends who are successful, and then I'm like, what are they doing to like different walks of life, or people from the same walk of life and doing certain things. I think I'm more empowered by my social circles more than some greater esteemed person. I'm like, I must.
You mean you don't get motivated by someone who has a Rolex and posts on Instagram and don't think?
Not really.
That's
no.
something you want to aspire to be like. No.
I'm going to be enjoying like snap hooking things on that par 5 next time I'm out. So
we're playing that course every single time now.
Just that hole, right?
Just over and over.
We'll just load up on like range balls and just start teeing up, and we'll be like, right, Mike, what we want you to do. You're going to tee off every ball, please. Like,
I think his aim would drastically improve, though, if that was the motivation.
Maybe. We don't know. People are like, hola, mate.
Private jokes.
It's fine. I think people know who it is. But that'd be interesting. Obviously, I'll report back on my fireside chat and what I took away. I'll take my notes. I probably won't take a notepad, if I'm honest.
Well, I don't even know if you'd be able to spell his favorite dinosaur, mate. So I wouldn't worry about taking notes. Just make sure you can find it.
I've just got to remember that I've got to know my favorite dinosaur. So,
correct.
Which when I was younger, I was a big fan of the Brachiosaurus or the Brontosaurus, and those are those big fuckers, like the really, really big ones that could. They were leaf eaters, but they were like way bigger than T-Rexes. They were the ones that like the T-Rex didn't go at because they were like, there's kind of a 50-50 chance that T-Rex is going to die.
So it's going to stomp on you like that.
Exactly.
Big. Yeah.
So those were always my favorite. Not like Stegosaurus. Didn't like Stegosaurus. He was a bit weak when he had the spikes, but he had this. Was it always like, they have the brain the size of a walnut or something like that. That's how big their brains, because they weren't very smart, were they?
I think for me, I did like a Velociraptor. The speed, do you know what I mean? Speed that they can move.
Just remember when we were growing up, 100% you would have been into this as well, because there was like the first like animation kind of thing was Walking with Dinosaurs, and it was on like BBC at like Sunday night, right? And we would have like got to know about dinosaurs. I think that's our kind of age group were infatuated with that. Because we're like, I'm gonna watch Walking with Dinosaurs, Brontosaurus or Brachiosaurus, big long neck fuckers. That's what I'm going with. I'm gonna have to have a good fact I feel if he doesn't have one I'm like year 3, year 4 me is going to be very upset. So,
yeah. I think he's going to not take that seriously. I just think he'll just be like, "Oh, T-Rex, because big." I just don't think he's going to think about it as much as he should do.
Yeah, he's too serious, isn't he? Too serious.
That's my view. That's what I think is going to happen, mate.
He's not going to beat Peter Jones on TikTok views with that attitude. So,
what's Peter Jones got?
Well, Peter Jones always brings it up on Dragon's Den, doesn't he? Because Peter Jones is legitimately a billionaire now, but he's done one TikTok ever, and it has got more views than any Stephen Bartlett TikTok.
Brilliant.
And he always brings it up because he's like, how many views? You say you're the king of social media, and how many views have your TikTok got? He's like, I've only ever done one, and it's got more views than any video you've ever done. It's quite funny. Yeah, very odd. But
more views than me as well. So.
Mate, TikTok's I'm just not consistent enough. I know that, but yeah, I think the people that seem to be successful on TikTok seem to post like 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, like of very similar things. That's the only people that they're just like, that's what they do. It's absolutely mad. Like, I don't know how to do it. Unless the only way I think I could do that is because obviously I use something called Opus Clip for the podcast stuff. So I take anybody who realizes long form content and they don't want to sit there and do this, I use Opus Clip that you can do it for free for a little bit. You take a long form piece of content, like I take the podcast, put 40 minutes of the podcast in, I type in keywords. So today I could type in dinosaur, Stephen Bartlett, I could type in Chris Hemsworth, and it will give me up to like minute 90-second clips, or you can like auto and it will pick out, it'll give you a score of how good it is or whatever, and it takes that and puts it into a short form clip. I've kind of forgotten where I'm going with this, but that would be the only way I could do that, because it could give me like 20 clips and I could post that all week. But again, I could, but I feel like I'd be bored out of my fucking brain doing that.
Yeah.
Maybe I should make another TikTok account, and it would just be Push Pull Legs Podcast, and it will be just relentless of those every single, like 6 times a day. See what happens. I mean, it might be a fun little project. That might be fun. It's just I have to hire a VA to comment, won't I? So.
Well, yeah, to do all that stuff, and then you have to buy Rolex as well. So.
Oh yeah, shit. What are you talking about? I got my Garmin. Does your Rolex count steps?
Well, no. That's the problem.
Well, 1-0 Rolex. Garmin, yeah, good. And it tells me how much percentage battery is left. Does Rolex?
It's handy that. No, I don't think so. No.
It tells me the date. If Rolex probably tells you the date.
Yeah, I assume so.
Nice. Right. The only thing I vaguely wanted to talk about, I made a post yesterday. It's definitely along the lines of, I don't know if it happens in nutrition. I don't know if it happens on people. Like, yeah, 100%. We can apply this to business, because it definitely is something that resonates that I talk about, and definitely something that's gone on at me about now, and it kind of hit home. And it definitely is something you do massively. And I talked about dimmer switches in training, because I think since entering. Getting a lot more high rocks based athletes, and obviously S&C and stuff is kind of my forte. And applying this to business, applying this to, I don't know, nutrition, probably not so much, but definitely on the scale of training. I think people get too infatuated, or not infatuated at all, about training phases. And they say like, I am going to be training for strength this block, and they fucking forget about everything else. And you're like, all right, we still have certain things we need to train, 100%, but there's going to be other stuff that we should not train, like aerobic capacity, like this kind of stuff. I think people go too far one way or the other. So I obviously I dig at the High Rocks and CrossFit community. That's going to be the theme for the next month, about what they do in terms of their training. They're very much like all or nothing kind of personalities. Which probably isn't the best progress, right? There's the whole kind of running community of like zone 2 runs. You kind of got to go slow to go fast, that kind of thing, especially in like business. Like Dan will probably resonate of like, you probably still need to do the boring, slow shit every day. to get where you want to be by the end of the wherever, which is the fancy stuff. But which like highlighted in training, I've heard a couple of my like favorite coaches talk about it before, and I was like, actually, I can repurpose this, and like, yeah, I do this. I was like, we have, and I put it in a Hierarchs post, and I just was like, look, for Hierarchs, these are the key indicators for whether you're going to be good at fitness. If I had 12 weeks to do, I would be like, right, for 3 weeks, I'm going to have 2 things cranked up on my dimmer switch, and then I'm going to crank some other stuff just down, not turn it off. We're still going to train it, but we're just going to make sure it doesn't get worse, but we're going to focus on the stuff and make that better. And then for weeks 4 to 6, we switch it over. So we're cranking other stuff up like aerobic capacity or like strength. And then we tone down strength, endurance, and Hierarchs specific work. And then if we were 12 weeks out, we have like 6 weeks to go. Maybe for the next 3 weeks, we go, all right, out of those 4 things, what do you suck at most? Let's put that as the crank up. That's going to get more overloads, and we tone down the other ones. And then if we're 3 weeks out from competition, we just slowly turn the dimmer switches down so we're ready to peak. And that would be cool. That's an easy way of like knowing what's happened, but we never turn things off. We're never going, right, no more aerobic work. It's like, all right, well, we're not going to cut it out totally. I think a lot of people go, all right, well, I've done hinge work or deadlift work for 3 months. I'm not going to do that next month. You're like, no, we still need to do some hinge work, even if it's at 60%, even if it's just like, I do a lot of speed work or pause work or just perfect form work with people. I'm like, cool, you don't need to do 3 sets of 6 or 3 sets of 8, like 2 times a week on your hinge pattern. It's fine. It's not going to get worse, but it's enough load to keep it there and keep what we've already built. Just so you kind of tick it over and we focus on something else. We crank that up. How would you apply that? How would you apply my amazing analogy to business? Because you're now
we do the same
business
thing.
guru.
Yeah, we do the same thing with business stuff. Like if someone's launching a group coaching program, for example, you would say, well, you're still going to post normal content. You're not just going to always post selling the group coaching. You're going to ramp it up. You're going to ramp up the selling of it, but it doesn't mean you just every single post is about it. You still need to post some funny stuff, relatable stuff, personal stuff as well. So we do exactly the same thing. We kind of have like each pot of content. So for example, you might have personal content, so that's related to you. You might have niche specific content. You might have brand related content, which is you and like your brand and what that brings, what that adds to your niche. And then you may have social proof, for example. So they're the 4 kind of pots you have of different types of content you will post. And then each of those things bring different characteristics. And in different time periods, like you said, you're just having a switch between, right, well, we're going to post 1 personal, 1 humorous thing, 1 brand related stuff, and 3 social proof because we're going to push for clients soon. So it's like, well, we need to build up of that. But you're not going to not post personal stuff. Like you said, it's just about taking how many from each pot. So if you like say you want to post 8 times in a week, on any given week, you might take 2 from each pot because it's 4 pots. But as time goes on, you might go, well, I'm just going to do 1, 1, 1, and 4. And you go, okay, cool. That's what I'm going to post. We do exactly the same thing. Again, same with emails, same with stories, loads of stuff. Like again, when you push in like lead magnets, free list, and we go through different months of the year where each month is different focus of the month in terms of what we're trying to push more of. So during that month, and so in content, you might have 40% of your content is from 1 pot, but over the weeks it's split up more evenly than that. So you would never know to look at someone's feed that, oh, they're doing that, they're doing that. It's done subtly and it's done in a way that's done so that all the other stuff is still there, so you don't completely forget about it. But like you said, a lot of coaches, they'll just do a week of selling, and then a week of training audio, and a week of selling, and then a week of nothing, and then a week of selling. And it's like, well, you never fucking get anywhere doing that. People just get so bored and they switch off with it. You still need the undertones of your whole brand throughout it. Yeah, we see it a lot all the time, like all the time with people. They don't focus on that sort of stuff. And you bang on as well, like, because the other thing that happens is that when you don't have those weeks where you do all or nothing, funnily enough, it's almost like a self-fulfilling cycle where if you go all or nothing, you have to go all or nothing on the next thing because you didn't do any strength during your aerobics. You have to go all out on strength. Whereas if you have enough of everything going through it, you don't need to do the all bit because you've got enough of a baseline and enough of a buffer there to go, actually, I can still go back to that. As soon as I start ramping up slightly, I've already got a good baseline, so I know I'm going to improve from there. So it's remembering that as well. Like, you don't need to just switch it off completely because you're back to square one. You've got to do all the groundwork again. So that takes time and effort. Yeah. Yeah, for sure see that.
100%. Because, I think, well, you can, as I'm sure you can give examples for like when you're talking about your members group, you'll have I know when you have certain weeks or a certain few weeks that you're like, right, talk about members group, only members group. You're only ever talking about the members group. It's just like, let's really publicize that. You want as many people in it, help as many coaches through that as possible as anything. And you'll probably see right now, I'm obviously trying to get as many coaches into testing. And I did every other, you've probably noticed through my feed for the last 2 weeks, every other day is me talking through a test or doing a test within the combine. But that's content for a full month. And I'm just doing day on, day off, day on, day off, day on, day off, day on, day off of combine testing. Hopefully people get bored of it, but the day off is exactly that from a different part. I did a post about golf. I did a post about like this kind of coaching, education, that kind of thing. And then the day on, simply for me, is the branding work of the combine stuff. Which is obviously because I'm trying to get more coaches, more people into testing because it's fun. You should be doing it, that kind of seeing where you're at. But yeah, you'll notice that over my content over the next, I think I've got another like, I don't know, 3 weeks of doing that. But it's, yeah, with that, it becomes, I feel like scheduling becomes easier as well. Because you're like, all right, I can already see what I should be posting. You stop second guessing yourself as much. Certainly something that has been good for me over the last like 3, 4, 5 months. And I'm not perfect. Dan's been doing it fucking far longer than I have. But yeah, it's only dipping my toe into this world, really. I'm fucking 2 years in, essentially.
I'm not perfect. This thing is like, again, it's not about being perfect, is it? Right? It's just about being a bit better than you used to be, or understanding it. I think I've just learned from mistakes where I've done that and gone, right, it doesn't really work, does it? And you see it with enough coaches and you do enough things, and you realise that it's just a better way of doing it. And yeah, I think as well, like there's always that element of, I think when you're trying to build a new habit, that the effort it takes to sustain it and start it is much more at the start than it is once you've been doing it for 6 months. Then it becomes automatic and it doesn't even require any thoughts. And now we don't think about it. Like you just said there, I've noticed you do these, and it, like probably not conscious. It's me and Mike have had a chat and gone, right, members group next 2 weeks, cool. And we just do it naturally. We just know what we're doing. And we know that it leads on from the last thing that we've done, because we're always thinking that we're a step ahead. We know what we're doing with it all. I think that's the other thing, is it's always hard at the start. It's always hard to get your head around it, think about it, and you have to plan it. And it's like, it takes up a bit of headspace and energy. Yeah, it does to start with. Of course it does, just like anything. Yeah, that's the main thing I would say, is it just then becomes second nature, I suppose, once you find something that works.
Correct. Lovely. I hope people take that into account, apply it. Dimmer switches, pots, whatever. I've talked about like buckets of fitness before. I think within the PT core, if anybody's ever done that, I think there's like seven buckets I think we talk about. And you're like, you need something in every bucket. We've got to fill every bucket before we go on to like certain things. And that becomes a complete general kind of programming. Fill your bucket. Anyway, right. We're almost coming to a close now because Dan's a tired little boy. And we may not have a podcast for a couple of weeks because, Dan's traveling the world. Well, he's coming back to England. He's got busy bee. Busy.
So yeah, Tom's gonna need to find a guest, or
I might find a guest. I'm sure I can wrangle someone. I'm sure someone wants to come. Does someone want to chat to me, or should I just have a couple of evenings off? Maybe. I'm not going to do a solo podcast because I think I've done one of them before, and I always like I don't like listening to them. Like obviously I don't listen to my own solo podcasts, but it's very different. Like a solo YouTube has like stuff going on, right? And you're showing people stuff, and it's more like a lecture, talk, seminar kind of thing. Like solo podcasts are always a bit confusing to me. I think you need at least 2 voices in there. The conversational style, because you want to be part of the conversation, right? That's the whole point of a podcast. You should want to be here to like. I'm hoping everybody's sitting in their cars and their headphones and trying to chime in, and then realize, oh yeah, Dan and Tom aren't there. I'm not actually talking to them. That's what happens, isn't it? But anyway, with the last thing we're going to talk about, Dan, as you've noticed, this week is reshuffle in the cabinet. Obviously, we've got to talk about this. Actually, had a shock. I thought I had a shocking week for fantasy football, but Mike had a worse week, I saw.
He had an awful week.
I luckily obviously left Haaland as my captain. All good. Did you leave Haaland as your captain?
I did, yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. It was intentional as well, though, because I thought with Chelsea, I was like, it's going to be goals. Like, I was like,
yeah, it was great. What game that was! Beautiful, absolutely fantastic. Yeah.
I did the unthinkable as well, and I made my transfers literally before all the games had finished. I was like, I know what I need to do for next week. I was like, I'm making these changes, and I pulled the trigger. I watched Tottenham. Was it Tottenham game? Saw the Tottenham result. I pulled the trigger on my transfers straight away because that was the first game of the weekend, wasn't it? I think. And I pulled the trigger after watching them play. I was like, they're not going to win for a little while. You can see how key Madison was for them and their whole team, and I just too many changes, too many things missing now with suspensions, and I was like, no. I was like, took Son out straight away. I think my team now is looking.
So I'm doing a similar thing. I think I'm saving up, and I think I can move Son and get Salah now or next week.
That's what I've done. I've managed to get Haaland and Salah. I'm one of the few people I think that's managed to do it. It means I've got 3 people on the bench that are ropey as, but I think I can deal with that for a couple of weeks. So I get a couple of free transfers, then I'll change them out. But Cole Palmer is a revelation at 5 million, to be fair.
I know. I think I might need to dabble. I think I've gone somewhere else with like.
Yeah, I got Cole Palmer in, and he was. I mean, I bought him for like 4.9. He's worth 5.2 now. But I got Jared Bowen as well. Like Jared Bowen is just like knocking goals in for fun. Yeah, I'm quite happy with my team, to be fair now. I think I do need to get rid of Saka. I'm still not sure on Saka, but
he just plays every game. That's the thing, and he's just like. I still don't think, even though he's already got like 5 goals and a fair few assists, like still hasn't hit his stride. That's
when I look at the points, like Jared Bowen's got more points than him. Do you know? I'm like,
but you're like, he's a blue chip player. He's just going to play every game. Arsenal are going to be in every game, and that's the other thing. Like West Ham might, if they're playing City, you're probably going to drop him. If Saka's playing City, you're probably not going to drop him. It's like one of those undroppable players, right? That's what I always think. I'm going to pay a premium for a blue chip. That's right. But anyway, in the cabinet, it's reshuffle week. Everybody, they're excited. But I thought this was the main story. Obviously, the racist twat that says Suella Braverman is gone. But what is the most fantastic thing is not David Cameron coming back. Don't worry. We're not going to discuss political allegiances on this podcast. That'd be a very odd thing to do. Is Esther McVeigh has entered the cabinet. Do you know what she unofficial title is?
No, I don't even know who she is.
No lie, until yesterday. So her unofficial title is the Minister of Common Sense.
Fuck off.
This is serious. Esther McVeigh bringing as a common sense SAR. If you type in the Minister of Common Sense, that is what she is coming. Because they're concerned about the woke nature of certain things and certain right-wing-ism within obviously the party, and their woke natures of other. So she's tackling the scourge of wokery. She's going to be applying common sense to certain things. She's a plain-seeking northerner with different views. There we go. So that's what's going to happen. That we have.
Good fucking Lord.
You've just Googled it, right? It's a real thing. Yeah. It's been covered by like it's the Guardian, the Independent. Because I was like, I said it to my mate, and he was like, "That's not real." And I was like, "Yeah, Independent, Guardian." I was like, because when I looked at it, I was GB News. I was like, "Really?" But Telegraph, yeah, go Google it. Thank me later. The common sense minister. Anyway, yeah. On that note, I feel like that's broken stupid things on the internet. We have to retire the section.
If you brought that back, that would be number 1. Nice.
Fucking hell. Absolute madness. All right. Any other business, mate?
That's enough for today. See you later, guys.
That's enough internet for today. Just turn it off.
Yeah, I need a break now for a couple of weeks. I actually need a break. I mean, yeah.
All right. Obviously, yeah. We may have a break for a couple of weeks. I might get a guest on. Obviously, is anybody who you want, let me know. I'm sure there's some people that I can probably get on. Who, I don't know. Do I want to talk to anybody? Yeah. I don't know. As insane as you? All right. I'll get Isabel on. That'll probably be better. No,
Yeah,
fine.
to be fair, more sense.
We can talk about her boyfriend. Be fine. How is Tristan?
Yeah, his birthday party. Yeah, it was good apparently. So
yeah, it was good.
yeah, that's all I heard. So.
Excellent. All right. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. We may not catch you in the next couple of weeks, but we'll catch you at some point before December, more than likely. All right. Thanks for listening.